What can one say about The Taming of the Shrew? It is one of Shakespeare's funniest comedies and one of Shakespeare's most problematic comedies, especially in the modern world. Its depiction of an Elizabethan relationship in which a man basically thinks he owns a woman, but which by the end, maybe the relationship has changed, has been problematic and questionable for directors and actors, and especially actresses, for years and years and years. We've done it twice, especially most recently in a totally wonderful production by Rebecca Teichman, which introduced her to our audiences and to us, and of course she's done wonderful work since. But I have been very interested for the next several years in fulfilling an ambition of mine, which I've done a little bit of, mostly through the associate directorship position here, of giving young directors who have a real enthusiasm and passion for classic theater, but have not worked in a theater like ours, with these resources, with these kind of actors, with this kind of scale, an opportunity to do what Joseph Papp gave me in the 60s when he invited me, a young director who had only done avant-garde work in coffee houses off Broadway, to direct Measure for Measure in Central Park. And I have been going around looking at younger directors' work, not in even off-Broadway, but in off-Broadway or in small theaters in different places of the country, to see if there was a group of people whose situation was like myself when I was in my mid to late 20s. There is a small theater in New York called the Flea Theater, which is located on the, it's not really Soho, it's sort of East Soho, which had a production called The Mysteries. It was based on the entire Bible. It was written by 50 playwrights, some very well known, some not so well known, who each took a theme from the Bible, from one of the books of the Bible, and wrote a play. And it was acted by 50 actors. It was 6 hours long. And the director of this amazing project was Ed Sylvanus Iskander. I have to say I went because I knew it was 6 hours, and I thought, well, Michael, you'll leave at the end of the first 2 hours because you'll have seen what you need to see, and 6 hours is even long for you, who's done 4-hour plays. I was bowled over by it. I sat there. I didn't get up during intermission. Of course, I couldn't get up because the actors were serving us dinner, which is something that Ed does. His idea of the theater is that the whole event, the play, the intermissions before the play, after the play, are all an immersive experience for the audience to participate in. And so I said, well, let's have breakfast. And so we met at a restaurant in Lincoln Center, and he came in. I hadn't met him. And I asked him what he wanted. You know, we talked. I said, do you like Shakespeare? He said, I love Shakespeare. That's what I want to do. That's what I like doing. That's what I studied when I was at Cambridge. That's what I studied when I was at Carnegie Mellon. And I said, what play do you want to do? And he says, I want to do The Taming of the Shrew. And I said, well, you seem as excited as Rebecca Teichman was. And it turns out he had seen Rebecca's production. And I said, why? And he said, well, aside from the fact that I think it's really funny, he said, I want to do a play about two things, a comedy about two things. I want to do a play about a commercial society in which Bianca and Kate are, in a sense, for sale. And I want to do a play about being the other. And Kate is the other. Kate is older. Kate does not want to be for sale. Kate is, in a sense, on the shelf. Ed was born in Indonesia. He was wearing a sarong, which I thought was fantastically wonderful myself, and is one of the and has felt, no matter where he was, whether it was in London or in LA or in Carnegie Mellon, that he was always the other. And he sees that in the shrew. He has a huge sense of humor and a wonderful physical ability to get jokes. But he had a point of view about the play that was interesting to me. And then he said, and I want to do an all-male production. Of course, it was an all-male production when it was done. So it's about as traditional, in a sense, as you could get. But more than that, I had thought about that myself for a while, because if you could do an all-female production or an all-male production, but in a sense of a kind of neutralizing it, the political issue, I think, becomes more important than the abusive issue. So I said yes right away. It's also pretty smart to do Taming of the Shrew the same year you're doing Kiss Me, Kate. And since Kiss Me, Kate will be doing some of the same scenes with a man and a woman, why not do the same scenes with an all-male cast? I think it will be a terrific thing. Very rarely do audiences get to see both those things in the same season. As a matter of fact, I met some subscriber the other day. He's been waiting his whole life to see Taming of the Shrew and Kiss Me, Kate in the same season. So I think, well, it's a present for you, it's a present for me, and I hope it'll be a great present for the audience, and have a great time in late spring and summer when we all would love a big laugh and a big show.